So I've been researching for an upcoming video, and yesterday I dove into the Junior European Championships from 1984, which were held in Rimini, Italy. There was a tie for gold between Irina Baraksanova and Jelena Zabrodina. So there were co-champions in the all-around. There have been a handful of champions who did not go on to have any kind of senior careers of note, and one of those was Jelena Zabrodina. She never even really competed internationally as a senior. This is why age limits are a mistake. And speaking of youth, incredibly, Aurelia Dobre competed here, and she was only 11 years old. She did not do so well. I think she had sub 9.5 scores on 2 or 3 events. There must have been some kind of dearth in the Romanian program at that time if they had an 11-year-old competing on their team. Not much older than Aurelia was Daniela Silivas. She finished 4th here. We know that Daniela was 12 during this meet, but somehow she aged 3 years and was 15 the following year to be age eligible to compete at Montreal Worlds. I remember watching the interview that Daniela did with the skating lesson, and I can't remember the exact timeline when it comes to her passport or age being falsified. It probably was prior to 1984, because surely she would have been caught if she was competing on a 1972 birth date and then all of a sudden was competing on 1971, right? But you know, this is the same FIG who has Carly Patterson in the code with a K. I guess Nelly Kim has better things to worry about than accuracy. As we all know. The only meet that I was able to find was home video of event finals. There is a home video of the all-around as well, but I have not watched that yet. I'll talk about that in a future video, and we can really get into who should have won between Baraksanova and Zabrodina. One of the most fascinating things about this meet was the splash of Natalia Frolova. These days, we all know her best for her signature floor routine that I did a video about. It is considered a pinnacle in the artistic realm. It's a masterpiece, right? It's so orchestric and glorious, but her floor routine in 84, this meet, was not so refined. And it's interesting because it really shows what a good choreographer can do. I have always brought up the example of Shushanova in 88. I've probably brought it up 20 times. But also, whoever did Frolova's 86 routine, also, you know, she carried over a score of 9.85, I think, from the all-around. So she was able to win the floor title, despite scoring a 9.9 in final, which was the same score that both Silivas and Baraksanova scored. Irina and Daniela had to tie for silver on floor. Irina did her My Sweet and Tender Beast routine, which has a very special place in my heart. I love that routine. But again, I was really taken aback at how on home video you really cannot get a sense of what a beautiful gymnast Baraksanova was. And I don't know who filmed this, but clearly she was the one they were there to see, right? They commented several times about, oh, when is she coming up? Or she's up first, or they were just all about some Baraksanova, and who can blame them? I know I had found out whilst researching for my Baraksanova video that is still coming. It might not be this year, it might not be next year, but it will come eventually. I promise. But when I was researching for that, I saw that she was doing a full in-off beam in 1984, and she even did it in Olomouc at the alternate games. I don't think I knew that she was also doing a full in-off bars in 1984, as she did to win the bars title here. Behind Irina, there was a tie for silver on bars. Daniela Silivas did a very clean routine. From the angle of the video, it's difficult to tell if the form on her dismount was something she improved later on, or if it just was always like this. She did not have the best amplitude on bars, despite all of the accolades she received on the event. If you remember, she scored 4 perfect 10s on bars at the 1988 Olympics. Sharing second place was the co-all-around champion Yelena Zabrodina. The highlight of her routine for me was absolutely her mount. It was so cool, so unique. It kind of triggers me that innovation has largely been stripped from the sport, and now everything feels so repetitive and soulless. Yelena was also in beam finals, but she finished just off the podium in 4th place. I also thought it was quite interesting that Frolova, Zabrodina, and Silivas all competed both a full twisting double back and a triple full on floor. Frolova even did a whip through to triple full. I have always never really been a fan of any of Silivas' optional floors. I thought they've been fine, but her compulsory floor is obviously the gold standard. This optional floor that she had as a 12-year-old might actually be my favorite one that she ever did. The music is good. Her expression is great. It's not over the top. It's not corny. It's not cheesy. It's just really delightful. I was really charmed. I really think the crowd wanted her to win, and low-key, so did I. Silivas got her only gold medal on beam. Daniela's beam routine was such a treasure. She took a page out of Szabo's book and did 4 back handsprings in a row, only she finished the final one in an arabesque. It was so cool, so pretty. Very well-deserved gold medal. There was another tie for second here on beam between Natalia Frolova, one of the 4 medals she won at this meet, and Elena Jevjana from Czechoslovakia. I actually couldn't believe my eyes when I saw Elena did a wolf double turn on beam in 1984. She was literally decades ahead of the trend. That was crazy. I wonder if anybody else did it before it became the go-to skill. Frolova also won vault. She stuck her first vault, which was a handspring front pike. Baraksanova also competed a front pike, which was just gorgeous in the air, but she had to stumble on the landing. She couldn't control it. I compiled the list of junior European results a few months ago. There's been so much talk about age limits, and to think how many of these gymnasts went on to have successful senior careers, how many of them didn't, how many just had mediocre ones. 2 years after this, Baginskaya won Junior Euros, and of course she was one of the all-time greats as a senior as well, but she is probably the exception and not the rule. I want to make a quick little video. I am working on my next installment in my Innovators in Gym series. I love the gymnasts I'm talking about. It's going to be a lot of fun, so I will see you guys then. Do skorowa. Bye.